Okay, we're ready for lesson 2.4, Evaluate Expressions with Grouping Symbols. And we're going to be starting on page 72 in our textbook. Go ahead and get on page 72. It's the Think and Grow, Evaluate with Grouping Symbols. And so it starts with our key idea at the top. Remember, guys, if you're watching the video and you need to pause it for any reason, you can do that and write down anything you need to write down. Alright, so the key idea that we're going to be dealing with in this lesson is grouping symbols. So we have parentheses, we have brackets, and we have braces. You notice here in your book they show you what each of these looks like. These are called grouping symbols. And so you can write and evaluate numerical expressions that have more than one pair of grouping symbols. So in your expression, you might have parentheses and brackets, or maybe parentheses, brackets, and braces. So we always start from the inside and we move out. Notice here it says perform the operation inside the innermost grouping symbols first. So going back, kind of review our order of operations with grouping symbols. Remember, we always start with our grouping symbols, then we move to multiplying and dividing from left to right. It's not that multiplying is more important than dividing, it's just that whichever we come to first, left to right, and then our last thing would be adding and subtracting from left to right. So let's look at our first example. I'm going to go to the click through example 1 here at the bottom. All right, and we're going to evaluate 25 minus 5 divided by 3 plus 1. Notice we have two sets of parentheses here, and so we're going to perform the operations inside of the parentheses first. Okay, so we're going to deal with, I usually go left to right, you don't have to, but I usually do. First we're going to deal with 25 minus 5, which is 20, and then 3 plus 1, which is 4. And so remember, guys, we take, when we're evaluating expressions, we go from something that's pretty long down to, usually in numeric expressions, it'll just be a single number. So now we're down to 20 divided by 4. We've simplified it to that. So then we perform that operation. We divide 20 by 4, and we get the answer, which is 5. Example number 2. Now this one has brackets and parentheses. And so remember, we start from the inside and we move out. So we have parentheses inside the brackets. So we're going to begin here with the 3 plus 7. So 3 plus 7 is 10. Now we've eliminated our parentheses. We've evaluated that. So now we're left with 60 minus 10 times 5. So the next thing we're going to do is that the operations inside the bracket. So it's 60 minus 10, which is 50. 50 times 5. We multiply 50 times 5, and we have 250 for our answer. So we're going to be practicing some of these today. So this is at the bottom of page 72. We're going to do number 1 at the bottom. We have 18 minus 12 times 8 divided by 4. So we've got to deal with the 18 minus 12. And I really don't have a way to write this where I can show it to you easily, so I'm just going to do it like this. So we're going to do first 18 minus 12, which is 6. Okay? We still have times. We're going to say 6 times 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So we've simplified it down to 6 times 2, and we know that equals 12. So we've evaluated the expression. So we've gone from this to this. Let's try another one. This time we have parentheses inside the brackets. So we're going to start with evaluating the parentheses. So we still have 35 minus, and let's see if I can put brackets. Brackets. Good, yay. 6 times, that's not brackets. Well, that's interesting because that's not brackets. Okay. I'm not sure how they want us to do that. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to pretend this is brackets. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so it's 6 times 1 plus 4. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay. Now that is going to equal 35 minus 30, because 6 times 5 is 30. And then 35 minus 30 equals 5. I just want to point out that these should be brackets. But the tool that they give me, I didn't see an option there for brackets. So when you write these, make sure you write them as brackets. That's interesting because I've got to use this tool on some of these problems, and I'm not sure how that's going to work on a couple of them, but we'll see. All right, moving on to the next thing. We're on page 73 now. We're going to do the apply and grow practice, starting with number 3 at the top. We have 60 minus 12 divided by 3 plus 5. So I'm going to evaluate what's in the parentheses first. Let me move this up a little bit. 60 minus 12 is 48. So we have 48 divided by whatever 3 plus 5 is. 3 plus 5 is 8. So 48 divided by 8 equals 6. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly for the sake of time. All right, we have 95 minus 26 plus 14. 26 plus 14 is 40 times 4 divided by 2, excuse me, times 4 divided by 2, which is 2. Okay, so if we follow the order of operations, we do the parentheses first. Now that we've eliminated, we did the parentheses first, we've eliminated those. So now we've got subtraction and we've got multiplication. And you know we always multiply and divide before we add or subtract. So we're going to go ahead and say 95 minus 80. Okay, so we multiplied first. Now we're going to subtract, and that equals 15. All right, number 5. We have 2 sets of parentheses. The first one is 8 plus 2, which is 10. It's going to be times, you see the times symbol there, whatever 13 plus 7 plus 5 is. So 13 plus 7 is 20, plus 5 more is 25. So 10 times 25 is going to be equal to 250. All right, now this has parentheses. Don't let it stress you out just because it has parentheses and brackets. We start with the parentheses. So we need to solve whatever 96 minus 72 is, and that's 24. So I'm going to write everything else down the same way. So it's going to be 2 times, and again, I would like to do the brackets. I do not see an option for brackets on here. Maybe I can use my computer brackets. Oh, I did. Okay. 24 divided by 8, and then I close my bracket. Okay, so we don't really have any parentheses. We do have the brackets though. And so now we've got 2 times whatever 24 divided by 8 is. That's what we're looking for. So first we need to decide what is 24 divided by 8. So we have 2 times 24 divided by 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Notice this became that. And then we dealt with this 24 divided by 8. And this became this. All right. Parentheses inside the bracket again. So I'm going to keep my bracket. And so inside the bracket, I have the parentheses 4 plus 9. 4 plus 9 is 13. minus 30 divided by 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5. I'm going to close my bracket. I'm going to multiply whatever that is by 4. Okay, so now I've still got grouping symbols and I've got multiplication. So of course I do the grouping symbols first. 13 minus 5 is 8. And 8 times 4 equals 32. This became that. This became this. And then this evaluated to that. Parentheses again inside your brackets. So I'm just going to write everything else down just like it is. So it's going to be 36 plus. Now I've got parentheses. Sorry, just a second. I would have put braces there, but they put parentheses. Normally, you're going to see braces right here instead of another set of parentheses. So in my book, in your book, and I'm looking at a copy of the book here, it shows braces. They look squiggly. To me, those look like parentheses. So that should be a brace right there, not a parenthesis. So I'm going to put a brace. It looks like this, okay? Now I'm going to deal with my bracket. I'm going to put my bracket, and I've got 7 plus 5. So 7 plus 5 is 12, and then I'm going to keep everything else divided by 6 times 9. Then I'm going to put my closing bracket plus 24. This is going to be the most complicated kind you do here. And then I need my closing bracket. Brace. I'm sorry, brace. It's hard to say that. Equals. Okay. So now I've gotten rid of the parentheses. You notice this is the 7 plus 5 has become 12. So I still need to work from the inside out. So I'm looking at my braces here. Excuse me, my brackets. Apologize. My brackets. And I've got 12 divided by 6 times 9. Remember, I go left to right. Left to right. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. So I've got 36 plus, and then I've got my brace. Again, 12 divided by 6 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18. So I've taken care of all of this. That's all gone. This is reduced to this, or simplified to that, plus 24. Then I'm going to have my end brace. All right. Now I'm going to say equals. Again, I deal with what's in my grouping symbols. And so I'm going to add 18 plus 24, which is 42. So I have 36 plus 42 equals, and the answer is 78. That's going to be the most complicated kind. If you need to stop it and look at it, that's fine. And remember, guys, I usually write below. I don't like to write to the side, but this is the way the book does it. So, all right, we're going to enter the words as an expression. So it says divide the sum of 35 and 28. Excuse me, divide the sum of 35 and 28 by the sum of 3 and 4. Okay, so I know there's division, but there's also two sums. And so I'm going to use parentheses. Divide the sum of 35 and 28. I'm going to close my parentheses there. I'm going to take that. I'm going to divide it by the sum of 3 and 4. The sum of 3 and 4. Remember, the word sum means to add, right? Okay. So they want us to evaluate that. They want to say, what is this? Okay, what is the answer to that? So I'm going to put equals there, and I'm going to try to move this over here where you can see it. So first I'm going to do 35 plus 28. So 35 plus 28, if you did this on, scratch it out on your, scratch paper, that's 63. So it's going to be 63 divided by 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. So 63 divided by 7 equals 9. And that's what they want you to put here. They want you to evaluate it and put the value of the expression. Like I said, you can stop it and look at it. This becomes this. This becomes that. And then just keep working down from there. All right, add 11 to the product of 4 and 6, then divide by 5. Product, again, implies multiplication. So we're going to add 11 to the product of 4 and 6. So what I'm going to do is, oh, and then that whole thing is divided by 5. So that sounds to me like I'm going to need, hold on a second, brackets. And I'm going to use parentheses. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 6 first, okay? And then I'm going to, I'm going to add 11 to that, okay? So it says add 11 to the product of 4 and 6. So I've done that. I had 4 times 6. I've added 11 to it. Then I'm going to take that whole thing and I'm going to divide that whole thing by 5. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's work that out. So I have my bracket, and 4 times 6 is 24. So 24 plus 11, and then I'm going to put my close bracket, that whole thing divided by 5. So 24 plus 11, give you a second to think about it. 24 plus 11 is 35. 35 divided by 5 equals 7. So our value is 7. Remember, you can stop the video and look at it. We're going to skip over that. We're going to skip over that. And I think I'm just going to end the video right there. You don't have to do 11 and 12. No, I'm not going to end the video there. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to move on to the Think and Grow on page 74. This will be the last thing we do on this lesson. I'm not sure if you can hear the video, so I'm just going to do the click-through example. All right, it says a woman walks 2 miles from her house to the lake, walks 3 laps on the sidewalk around the lake, then walks 2 miles back to her house. She does this each day for 3 days. How many miles does the woman walk in all? So we think about the laps that she's walking around the lake. We think about how many days she does this, how far she walks to and from her house. Okay, so she walks 2 miles from her house to the lake. So that's 2 miles. Then she walks 3 laps around the sidewalk around the lake. Then she walks 2 miles back to her house. And she does this each day for 3 days. How many miles does the woman walk in all? So there's the 2 miles that she walks to the lake. You notice here that they told us, and I forgot to mention this, that the sidewalk around the lake is 9/10 of a mile, and she does that 3 times. So she does 9/10, 9/10, 9/10, or 3 times 9/10. And when we do that, it'll tell us how many miles. And then she walks 2 miles back to her house, and she does that every day for 3 days. So the first thing we need to deal with here is this 3 times the 9/10, because it's parentheses, so it's inside the brackets. So we're going to do 3 times 9/10, which is 2 and 7/10. You notice if you multiply 3 times 9, it's 27 over 10. When you change that to a mixed number, 10 goes into 27 2 times with 7/10 left over. You add these together. They move the 2's next together, so you just think of the whole numbers. But if you really have a 2, 2, 2, which is 6, or 6 and 7/10. I'm just kind of sped through that, times 3. Unfortunately, and this is not going to show you this here, but you cannot just multiply 6 and 7/10 times 3. You have to change 6 and 7/10 to an improper fraction. first before you multiply. So this would be 10 times 6, or 67 tenths, and 67 tenths times 3. So you multiply 67 times 3 and then divide that whole thing by 10, and you would get, change it back to the mixed number, 20 1/10. It's kind of interesting they used something that was not a whole number, but all right. So let's do the practice at the bottom. It says that you collect 12 coins and 4 gems, complete 2 missions, and fail to complete 1 mission. How many points did you earn? So you got 12 coins, and they're 5 points each. We've got 4 gems, and they're 10 points each. We completed 2 missions, which is 50 points each time you complete a mission, but then failed to complete 1 mission, so that would be a minus 25. So first let's do the coins. Let me move that. Remember, you collected 12 of them, and so that would be, I would do parentheses, and that's, so 12 times 5, because you got 12 coins and they're worth 5 points each. And then I would add to that the 4 gems, which are 10 points each. So I'm going to use my parentheses again. So I'm going to say 4 times 10. And so far I've taken care of the 12 coins, which are 5 points each, the 4 gems, which are 10 points each. Now I've completed 2 missions, so I'm going to add to that. I'm going to do another parentheses because there's 2 of them, 2 times 50. Let's see, so I'm going to say 2 times the missions I completed, and then from that total I'm going to subtract 25 for the mission that I did not complete. So let's go ahead and solve that. Let's see, we're going to say that equals. So first we're going to do 12 times 5, which is 60, plus 4 times 10, which is 40, plus 2 times 50, which is 100. And from that, we're going to subtract the 25. I need to move this where you can see that. And that would equal, if you add 60 plus 40, that's 100, plus another 100 is 200. 200 minus 25 is 175. And then you can skip number 14. That's fine if you skip that. All right, so what you need to do next is your homework on page 75 and 76. And remember, guys, when you're watching the video at any time, if you need to stop it to go back and look at something, or just take the time to write some of your stuff down you need to write down, that's fine. I've already uploaded the answer key for 2.3 to Google Classroom. I'll do the same for 2.4, but you need to show your work. If you come back and you have 7 written down and you're not showing me what you did to get it, I need to see the steps that you took. So make sure that you show your work. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day, and hopefully I'll be including another video, probably not tomorrow, but probably Wednesday. Thank you.